Go ahead and give me a thumbs up or something in the chat. Let me know you guys can hear me, and we'll get started here momentarily. Thank you, Tracy.
Hey.
Yes.
All right, let me get into our CompuCram and I'll share my screen and we'll get going. Hi, Thomas.
Yeah.
All right. One more thumbs up if you guys can see the screen.
Is he the guy that is like one of those coaches?
All right, let me know if you guys want, either type in the chat or you can speak up however you want. What would you like to go into? We can go into land use, we can go to valuation and market analysis, financing, general principles, right through here. Go ahead and type in and we'll start with whoever has the first one.
Oh, which was like, I don't know what your food.
Mm-hmm.
You got it?
You're gonna be cool and you're gonna get down.
Anyone have anything they would like to start with here? Principles, real estate calculations, licensing. There, we got the chat going. Sorry, the chat is not showing up for me. There we go. Contracts. I guess we will start on contracts. All right. All right, so start practice session. All right, first question. Once both parties have signed a purchase agreement and sale agreement, purchasing and sale agreement, and the buyer's earnest money, check is deposited in the broker's trust account. Whose money is it? A, the buyer's until closing. B, the seller's until closing. C, nobody until the transaction is either completed, rescinded, or breached. Or D, the broker's as a prepayment of commission. Go ahead and type your answers in the chat. Thank you. I don't know why the chat is giving me so much trouble today. It is so odd, it won't show up on this screen. Give me one moment so we can get this working. I apologize. I'd love to have the chat on the same page that we're here. Let's try this. I don't know why that's not working. Well, let's keep moving through here. I saw a lot of C's and I can bounce back and forth if I have to. C, nobody until the transaction is completed, rescinded, or breached. That is correct. We all had C's, so we will move on to the next question. Please speak up too if you are confused about something or a reason why. We can jump into an explanation if I have it for you. All right, next one. If Ed purchases a property from Susan by an installment land contract, when will title pass to Ed? A, when the deed is delivered to the buyer. B, when the deed is placed in escrow. C, when the contract has been signed by all parties. Or D, when the seller exercises the liquidated damage clause? Go ahead and type in your answers. We have A. That is correct. Moving on. You know what? Here's what I could do. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but we will get through this. All right, I just want to make this screen big enough for everyone to see. All right, I think that will work. Perfect. All right, thanks for bearing with me, everyone. All right, so next one, Laura receives an offer on her property and makes a counteroffer. Meanwhile, another offer comes in from another broker. The listing is withdrawn, active, pending, or contingent. What do we have? Make sure everyone, you are typing in your answers here. We want to make sure that you're learning as much as possible. So again, Laura receives an offer on her property and makes a counteroffer. Meanwhile, another offer comes in from another broker. The listing is B, active is correct. Moving on. A seller and buyer agree on terms of a purchase and sale agreement and are now waiting for the closing to occur. Unfortunately, before closing occurs, the improvements on the property are struck by lightning and totally destroyed. The buyer may answer could be all of the answers listed. B would be terminate the contract. C would be accept the property and claim the insurance proceeds, or D, accept the property as is. Exactly it. All of the answers above. Now the seller has to allow the buyer in that, in a case like that, the seller actually has to allow the buyer to make the decision. The seller does not have as much power as the buyer does. Next question. When an offer is presented, the seller may A, reject the offer, B, all of the answers listed, C, accept the offer so it becomes a contract, or D, make a counteroffer. That is correct. Looks like we're doing great on this. Next one, a buyer makes an offer subject to reviewing the results of a home inspection. After the inspection, the buyer is ready to move forward with the deal. Which does the buyer's agent need to do at this point? A, advise the buyer to renegotiate the purchase price. B, recommend that the buyer get an appraisal of the property. C, prepare an addendum removing the contingency. Or D, require that the sellers make the recommended repairs listed on the inspection report. Go ahead and type in your answer. I see a lot, I see AC, and that is correct. Prepare an addendum removing the contingency. That form, just so you know, is called a removal of contingency. Pretty simple. Next one, listing agent Jill notifies a client that she is bringing her an offer to consider from an MLS agent. On the way to the client's house, Jill receives a call from the buyer with whom she has an agency relationship. The buyer wants to see the listing and she agrees to meet him at the house. The potential buyer wants to make an offer and asks Jill to suggest a price that would be good for her to offer. Jill looks at the offer sent by the MLS agent and suggests the buyer to offer $500 more than the other agent's offer. Which statement is true? When acting as a dual agent, the salesperson cannot suggest or recommend specific terms. B, the broker should be proud of the listing agent. C, the listing agent has nothing to worry about. Or D, the listing agent did exactly the right thing for her client. That's it. Looks like we all had A on that one. Let's keep moving through it. Buddy wanted to make an offer to purchase on Walker's home. He engaged Joan to be his agent. When the offer was delivered to Mr. Walker, it contained a provision limiting the time for the acceptance to 48 hours. Mr. Walker rejected the offer out of hand as inadequate. After thinking about it for 24 hours, though, Mr. Walker called the agent Joan and said, "I've changed my mind. I'll take Buddy's offer." What is the status of Buddy's offer? It is still open. Buddy has not formally withdrawn it. B, it is terminated when Mr. Walker first rejected it. C, it is still open. It had 40 hours to run. Or D, it is a binding contract now that Mr. Walker has accepted it. B is correct. Let's keep moving forward here. All right, Buddy wanted to, next question. The law requiring certain real estate contracts to be in writing to be enforceable is called A, parole evidence rule, B, statute of limitations, C, written instrument law, or D, statute of frauds. Statute of frauds is correct. Moving on. If the buyer in a contract for deed, a land contract, who has paid less than 20% of the purchase price defaults, the seller may A, wait 10 days, then sell to someone else, B, initiate foreclosure proceedings, C, initiate forfeiture proceedings, or D, file a judgment lien. I see D's here, and it's actually initiate foreclosure proceedings. I don't know if that we had D's from the last one, but yes, initiate foreclosure proceedings is correct. So go ahead and type in the chat if we need to discuss this or not. I don't know if everyone was waiting or if I'm delayed here. Well, perfect. All right, so if a buyer in a contract for deed, land contract, who has paid less than 20% of the purchase price defaults, the seller may initiate foreclosure proceedings. And here's why. If we go down here, if the land contract has been in place for less than 5 years, or the amount has been paid by the buyer is less than 20%, that's the key here. It's been paid less than 20%. If it's over 20%, it's a different story. So under 20% or less than 5 years, remember, you can file you can initiate the foreclosure proceedings. The seller may initiate foreclosure proceedings 30 days after giving buyer written notice of default and the intent to sell. After receiving the notice of default, the buyer has 10 days to remedy the default and restore the terms of the contract. After the 10-day redemption period has run, the defaulting buyer loses all rights to the property and the seller can resell it. If the payments have been made totaling more than 20% of the purchase price, or the contract has run for longer than 5 years, foreclosure proceedings are required. The judgment liens are involuntary financial encumbrances recorded against the title to real property. You can take a quick shot of that, but pretty much the forfeiture proceedings are a quicker and faster way of looking or getting the property back, and that's under 5 years or under 20%. If it's over 20% or over 5 years, you are going to do a foreclosure. All right, ready to move on? You're welcome. Contract law requires which amount of earnest money to be submitted with a sales contract? At least $1,000, 6% of the offer, 10% of the asking price, or no earnest money is required to form a contract. D is correct. A purchase and sale agreement stipulates the earnest money deposited be placed in separate interest-bearing account, in a separate interest-bearing account with any interest earned split between the buyer and seller. This is against the law. A. B. Okay, because the buyer and seller agreed to it. C. Money laundering. Or D. Not okay, because the broker should re-sign the listing. B is the correct answer. Looks like we all got that. Moving on, the first instrument a buyer usually signs in a real estate transaction is a mortgage, a listing agreement, an offer to purchase, or a deed. I see a lot of B's. I want you all to think about this. An instrument a buyer usually signs. There we go. Now I'm seeing C's come in. Now, if it was a listing, I would agree out of these, it would be a listing agreement would be first. Or a seller instead of a buyer, that should be. Next one, in order to have a valid contract, the good faith deposit must be paid in the form of A, a cashier's check drawn from a buyer's bank, B, cash money in small bills, C, a personal check drawn from the seller's bank, or D, anything the parties agree on. That's it. A or D, you could make that argument, Tracy. I wouldn't disagree with that. Next one, if upon a receipt of a, if upon a receipt of purchase under certain terms, the seller makes a counteroffer, the prospective purchaser is A, bound by the original offer, B, relieved of the original offer, C, bound by the agent's decision, or D, bound to accept the counteroffer. B is correct, and I see a lot of B's on there. I only am seeing some answers here. Let's make sure we are all answering this. First one to choose what they would like to study next, we can jump into. So transfer of title, we could go into leasing and property management, broker relationships, agency law, licensing requirements, state governance, real estate calculations, real estate practice of real estate. I think we already said that. Go into an exam, financing, state governance. Agency law, I saw next, so we will go into that. All right. Here we go. All right. If a sales agent is found guilty of violating Ohio real estate advertising laws, the agent may be fined up to $2,500 per violation by the Ohio Real Estate Commission, B, subject to both fines, C, jailed for the term of no more than 30 days, or D, fined $200 per violation by superintendent. Let's see some answers in here. Remember, let's all jump in. This is only going to help you if you're participating. I'm seeing A's and B's. B is correct, subject to both fines. So both the Ohio Real Estate Commission and the superintendent have authority to issue fines for advertising violations. The superintendent may fine no more than $200 for an advertising law violation, while the commission may fine up to $2,500 for any law violation. There you go. Next one, if a seller files a complaint with the Ohio Real Estate Commission against a real estate agent, the first step in the investigation process is A, trial, a B, formal hearing, C, informal mediation meeting, and if both parties agree, or D, an appeal. C is correct. Looks like we all had that. Next one, if the Ohio Real Estate Commission finds a real estate agent guilty of a misconduct and suspends the agent's license, The agent may file a civil lawsuit against the Ohio Real Estate Commission, B, civil lawsuit in the Ohio Court of Appeals, C, suit declaring bankruptcy so the fine levied by the Ohio Real Estate Commission is discharged with the other debts, or D, appeal with the Court of Common Pleas. There we go. Next question. An auditor arrives at a real estate broker's office at 5:10 p.m. and demands to see the broker's records. The broker's office is closed at 5 o'clock. The broker, A, must comply with the auditor's request only if the auditor produces a subpoena. B, does not have to cooperate with the auditor. C, must stay open late and allow the auditor to see whenever records are requested, or D, must ask the auditor to come back during normal business hours. I believe this one is going to be a D. That is correct. Next one, the powers of the Ohio Real Estate Commission include the power to A, regulate the real estate industry, B, pass legislation concerning real estate licensing, C, oversee the Ohio Division of Real Estate, or D, incarcerate whoever is whoever violated the canon of ethics. It's actually regulate the real estate industry, of course. I actually got that wrong with you guys. So the powers of the Ohio Real Estate Commission is included the power of to regulate the real estate industry. The superintendent is charged with overseeing the Ohio Division of Real Estate. The commissioners do not have the power to pass legislation. That job is the state Senate and House of Representatives. The commission does not have the power to incarcerate. Only a judge has the sentence to the ability to sentence someone to jail. Next question. Now, I believe, well, let's go ahead. We said we were going to do, did we say agency? Let me check these answers up here. We said agency, law. Here we go. A consumer guide to agency relationships form must be provided for all of the following except A, single family residence, B, a condo, C, an office building, or D, a two-family residence. Oh, gotta check your messages here. C is correct. Next one, a buyer asks a sales agent to prepare a land installment contract. The sales agent does not have the local legal publishing mart and purchases a pre-printed land installment contract form. The sales agent proceeds to fill out the pre-printed form. What is true? This is a violation of the Ohio Marketable Title Act. B, there is no violation of the Ohio Revised Code. C, this is an unauthorized practice of law. Or D, this is not unauthorized practice of law as the sales agent uses a pre-printed form. C is correct. Next one, a sales agent is found guilty of a violation of the Ohio Revised Code involving non-disclosure of an agency relationship. What is the liability of the sales agent? A, an immediate revocation of the sales agent's license. B, a fine not to exceed $2,500 per violation. C, criminal penalty of the 4th degree misdemeanor. Or D, jail term not to exceed 30 days. B is correct. What is not a fiduciary duty of an Ohio real estate licensee? Loan arranging, B, care, C, obedience, or D, accountability. That is it. Next one, a real estate licensee owes fiduciary duty of confidentiality to a seller until A, forever, B, until paid the commission, C, 1 year after the contract expires, or D, when the contract expires. I'm seeing a lot of A's. That is correct. Next one, a sales agent advertises a property for $180,000 when in fact the sales agent has listed the property for $200,000. Sales agent does not have the seller's permission to advertise the property for $180,000. What statement is actually true? Oddly enough, I am taking a listing tomorrow because of this. Another agent did this and they were fired for doing that, obviously. From completely separate brokerage, obviously, as well. The sales agent is guilty of a violation of the Truth in Lending Act. B, sales agent is guilty of false misrepresentation. C, the sales agent is in violation of the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act. Or D, sales agent has committed no wrong. B is correct. Moving on. Which would cause a real estate sales agent to lose their Ohio state license? A, violation of the Code of Ethics. B, violation of the Board of Realtors Code of Professional Responsibility. C, violation of minor traffic offense. Or D, violation of canon of ethics. Go ahead and type in the chat. D is correct. I see that a couple of us had B. The Code of Ethics is a code of professional responsibilities, are both the standards of reasonable conduct adopted by the Board of Realtors. These are not legally binding upon a sales agent or broker. A sales agent or broker who lose his license for a violation of the canon of ethics, which were adopted by the Ohio Real Estate Commission. A minor traffic offense does not need to be reported to the Ohio Real Estate Commission and is not grounds for a suspension. All right, moving on. A broker is representing a buyer. Sorry, I'm letting one more person in. A broker is representing a buyer. A buyer expresses an interest in a property that is advertised in the paper for sale by owner. The broker calls the seller and asks to show the property to the buyer. When must the consumer guide to agency relationships be given to the seller? A, prior to showing the seller's property to the buyer. B, prior to sending the buyers for financing. C, prior to negotiating a sales contract. Or D, during the telephone conversation, the broker must disclose the seller the fact that he represents the buyer. D is correct. All right, what is not the unauthorized practice of law? A, completing the pre-printed sales contract form. B, preparing the real estate license. Preparing a real estate lease. C, preparing a real estate land contract. D, preparing a real estate sales contract. Go ahead and type in your answers. I see a lot of A's, and that is correct. Very good, let's keep moving. What duties are owed to a third party? A customer involved in a real estate transaction. A, duty to represent. B, duty to obtain financing. C, is duty to treat honestly and fairly. Or D, duty to advocate. C is correct. All right, let's keep moving. What duties are owed to a third party, a customer involved in a real estate transaction? I'm sorry, guys, we just did this one. It looks like somebody was like drawing on the screen. I'm not sure what happened there. Anyways, we'll see if it keeps happening and we'll address it accordingly. Let's keep moving here. A sales agent is taking a buyer through a home. The sales agent has not viewed the basement. When asked about the condition of the basement, the sales agent says that the basement is completely dry. What is true? The sales agent has made no misrepresentation. B, the sales agent is guilty of misrepresentation. C, the agent is guilty of fraud. Or D, the sales agent is guilty of caveat emptor. B is correct. Next question, a licensed sales agent is contemplating selling her own property. What must the sales agent do to comply with Ohio law? A, disclose what type of agency is being offered. B, disclose in any advertisement that the property is being for sale by an owner agent. C, disclose in the listing that she's a sales agent. Or D, disclose what type of lending is being offered. So it's actually C. No, I am wrong. Disclose in any advertisement that the property is being sold for sale by owner agent. That's very odd. Well, yes, it would be in any type of listing. I was just a little bit confused that it's saying for sale by owner, because very often we're not going to be listing them as for sale by owners yet. You guys got that right, so keep it going. Many agents don't sell their homes for sale by owner. That's why I got confused on that one. But anyways, we do have to very clearly advertise that we are owners once we are licensed when we're selling our homes. Next question, a sales agent represents a seller in a listing. What are the agent's duties to the consumer? A, accountability, B, honesty and fairness, C, loyalty, and D, care. That is correct. Next question, a buyer takes a listing on a property. The sellers state that, if necessary, they are willing to accept an offer of $5,000 less than the listing price. What is the obligation of the broker to the buyer? A, the broker may disclose what the seller said about the price reduction. B, the broker owes their first fiduciary duty to the buyer. C, the broker has no duty whatsoever to the buyer. Or D, the broker must disclose to the buyer that the sellers will come down $5,000. A is correct. Salesperson A knew that Mr. and Mrs. Buyer were working on with salesperson B, an exclusive with a salesperson B under an exclusive purchaser agreement. Before A can work with the buyers, A would be, should ask B's broker when the agreement expires and wait till it does before contacting the buyers. B should contact the buyers right away because case study has proven that the broker agreements do not hold up in court. C, may contact the buyers after B has not contacted them for 7 days in a row because this constitutes abandonment. Or D, may not work with the buyers until the broker's protection clause in the buyer's broker agreement expires. I believe it's actually D, but it is B. That was protection clause. Yeah, because the protection clause would not include there. The buyer, so yes, should ask B's broker when the agreement expires and wait until it does before contacting the buyers. Very good. The buyer could also tell you that as well. A sales agent is interested in buying some property. A sales agent walks through the seller's house, but does not mention being a sales agent, which is true. A, the sales agent has not violated any laws. B, the sales agent is not allowed to buy the property without his broker being involved. C, the sales agent has violated the fiduciary duty owed to the seller. Or D, the sales agent must disclose during the walkthrough the fact that the sales agent buying the property is buying it for his own purposes. A is correct. Moving on. A buyer signs an agreement to purchase a home. The seller has not provided a property disclosure form. When the buyer requests the property disclosure form, the seller refuses to provide it. What rights are available to the buyer? A buyer may request only that the seller deliver a property disclosure statement within 3 business days after the agreement has been signed. B, the buyer must rescind the contract. C, the buyer may sue 3 times the damages for any defects not shown. Or D, the buyer may sue for liability. B is correct. Next question: a real estate agent is selling Ohio property that is owned by a resident of Indiana. The buyer is a resident in Florida. The real estate agent must be licensed in Ohio, Florida, both Indiana and Florida, or Indiana. A is correct. Broker Bill Brewer engages in exclusive agency listings with his seller clients, and the seller enters into an agency relationship in which the seller is going to market her own property. What document must be included in the listing file? A, an opinion. B, land contract. C, a waiver of duty statement. Or D, a lease. C is correct. Looks like we all got that. Moving on. At what point in time must an agent give a buyer the consumer guide to agency relationships? Let's make sure we're all answering this. It's a very important one. A, at the loan application table. B, at the closing. C, prior to the second showing of the house that was open. Or D, prior to showing the property at an open house. C is correct. Next question, or actually next session. What do we have here? So I believe it is way up here in the chat. I'm sorry, we're way too far in. So go ahead and type in the next one we want to see here. Prep agent is completely different. Can you explain to me what you're referring to? Wording terms. Are you saying you want to go into the vocabulary instead? All right, feel free to shoot me another message in here if you want. We can dive into that next. You can just hit this drop down and send it right to me if you want, Brent, while we're doing this next one. We'll go into general principles though. All right, best description of a principal is A, an owner of real estate. B, a customer. C, one who employs a broker to represent his interest in matters of real estate. Or D, a landlord. Seeing A's, B's, and C's. C is correct. One who employs a broker to represent his interest in matters of real estate. If we read the bottom, the agent represents the principal, therefore owes fiduciary duty to the principal. An agent works with, but not for, a customer. Next, when a person authorizes, a person authorized to act on behalf of another is called a customer, principal, agent, or client. C is correct. Next question, a sales agent is selling his own personal home, the condition of which he misrepresents. The agent is sued and raises the defense that he is not acting as an agent in this sale, but was selling his own property personally. The probable outcome of this case is the broker will be held liable. B, the case will be dismissed for no cause of action. C, the sales agent will win, or sales agent will be held liable. D is correct. Next question, Brandon lists a property. Brandon finds a buyer. If Brandon is allowed to write an offer as a buyer's representative, is Brandon allowed to write an offer as a buyer's representative? No, it's against federal trade laws. Yes, it's specifically written in the offer. C, yes, as long as both parties agree to it in writing. Or D, no, an agent cannot collect both commissions. C is correct. Next question, a relationship between one person, principal, and another, an agent, wherein the agent is given the right to act on behalf of the principal in a business setting is usually called A, an agency relationship, B, trespass, C, customer representation, or D, involuntary servitude. A is correct. Looks like we all had that one. Once established through a listing agreement, what fiduciary duty does not ever end? Confidentiality, obedience, financing, and loyalty. Confidentiality. During a 90-day listing agreement, the seller dies. Which statement is true? The agent's death is the only thing that would terminate the listing. B, the agent can continue to show the property to any interested buyer. C, the listing agreement is terminated. Or D, the listing agreement is terminated, the listing agreement can be enforced against the seller's executor or heirs. C is correct. In real estate transactions, a real estate salesperson has a direct fiduciary relationship to the A, buyer's agent, B, cooperating broker, C, sponsoring broker, or D, other salespeople participating in the transaction. That is correct. You guys are doing great. Keep up the answers coming in. While a listing agent is showing a rental property, it becomes clear that the buyers are about to disclose a confidentiality. They recently won a large settlement in a personal injury case and have unlimited funds to spend on the property. The agent, A, is a buyer's agent and will keep the buyer's confidentiality. B is a dual agent, so it's okay that the buyers tell the agent this information. C, owes no duty to disclose to the buyers any relationship between the agent and the seller. Or D, should tell the buyers before showing the property not to disclose any confidentiality. I'm seeing A's and D's. D is correct. A is incorrect because we are getting into a confidentiality challenge here. When it comes to when the listing agent is showing the rental property, it becomes clear that buyers are about to disclose information. It's unique on what they are saying. It becomes clear that they're about to do it. Yet, let's read what the rationale is. As the buyer agents are about to tell the sales agent a confidentiality, the agent should tell the buyers before the home is shown that the agent represents the seller. Yeah, disclosing everything we possibly can up front is usually going to be what the state wants and what we should exactly do. Moving on, in a listing agreement, the sales agent is described as A, the subagent, B, the agent, C, the principal, or D, buyer's agent. Sub-agent is actually correct on this. The agent is a sub-agent in the listing. The listing belongs to the broker, and thus the broker is the agent. The sales agent is the agent of the broker, making him a sub-agent under the broker. The way the state is looking at it is, when we are listing agents, unless we're actually the broker, then we are a sub-agent of the broker. All right, what's the next one we want to get into? Sorry, I'll scroll down so you guys can see more. Title of transfer, practice of real estate calculations, contracts, property condition disclosures, general principles of agency, financing. What would you guys like to get into? Licensing requirements, and then we'll get valuation and market. So let's get into, do we need an amortization table? That depends on, I believe, which questions we get into. But we're going to jump into licensing requirements next, right here. All right, if a sales agent does not wish to practice real estate on a full-time basis any longer, his license is returned to the Division of Real Estate and placed on an inactive status, on a canceled status, on, in deposit or in escrow. An inactive status is correct. What would cause a real estate sales applicant to be denied permission to sit for an Ohio real estate exam? A, having violated any civil rights law regarding real estate within the past 2 years. B, being over 65. C, parking ticket. Or D, an arrest for a bank robbery. A is correct. Looks like we all got it. If a broker runs a sales license to the Division of Real Estate, the salesperson can get it back by A, retaking all the all pre-licensing courses, B, paying a reinstatement fee, C, taking a 10-hour post-licensure course, or D, taking 30 hours of continuing education. What do we have here? B, the reinstatement fee is the correct answer. Salesperson's license can be placed in inactive status indefinitely. In order to return the license to an active status, the salesperson must identify a broker with whom to be affiliated upon reinstatement and pay a reinstatement fee. Salesperson is not required to take 30 hours of CE as a requirement of reinstatement. Next question, to be eligible to sit in the Ohio real estate exam, sales exam, a person must A, be an Ohio resident, B, have not sold a home in the last 2 years, C, be honest, truthful, and of good reputation, or D, be under the age of 65. Pretty simple one there, to be honest, truthful, and good reputation. Next one, a person who is in association with a broker receives a fee or something other than compensation for selling, listing, leasing, or exchange of the real property of another must have a limited license. B, Ohio real estate broker's license. C, foreign license, or D, Ohio real estate sales license. D is correct. This is a definition of a sales associate. The agent is not a broker, but is associated with a broker, may act on the broker's behalf. That's why it is not B for any of us that answered that. Sales agent passes an exam on October 1st and his license is issued on October 4th. His birthday is on October 10th. When must the sales agent renew his license? A, on or before January 1st of the following year. B, 3 years from his birthday. C, on or before October 10th of that year, then every third year thereafter. Or D, during December. C is correct. Make sure that you are renewing them on or before that, on or before your birthday, your first year. Moving on, a new real estate sales license is needed to renew his or her license on his or her next birthday following the date issued every 3 years thereafter on the licensee's birthday. B, 3 years after taking the 10-hour post-license course. We won't have to go through all of them. A is correct. Pretty much the same question we just had. That's correct, Brent. Next one, to maintain a license, a real estate agent must A, join the board of realtors within 6 months of passing the exam. B, take a 20-hour post-licensing class within 12 months. C, take a 10-hour post-licensing class on fair housing. Or D, take 30 hours of real estate classes within 2 years of passing the exam. They change these up quite a bit. It's take 20 hours of post-licensing within 12 months of passing the exam. So make sure we do have that. It used to be 10 hours and then 30 hours after that. So yeah, 20 hours now within your first 12 months and 30 hours within your first 3 years is the answer we're looking for. Next one, in order to sell a cemetery plot, an agent must possess. You guys jumped on that one super fast. Dave lives in South Dakota. He wishes to become a licensed real estate agent in Ohio. Would Dave be permitted to sit for the exam? No, Dave's not a resident of Ohio. B, yes, Dave is licensed in South Dakota. He will automatically have reciprocity in Ohio. C, Dave must reside in Ohio for 6 months before sitting the exam. Or D, Dave must consent to service processing through the Superintendent of Ohio Division of Real Estate. That is correct. And we will finish up with valuation and market analysis. All right, it would be unethical for an appraiser to A, refuse to make a commercial appraisal because she only has residential experience. B, appraise the property for which she has a disclosed interest. C, base her payment on a percentage of the appraised value. Or D, ask for payment in advance. B is not correct. Appraise the property which she has disclosed interest is okay to do. Base her payment, of course, base her payment on percentage of an appraised value. That's just incentive cause bias kicking in. The higher the valuation of the property, the more money she would make. That would not be a good thing to have. That would be an inaccurate appraisal. Next one, the term amenities is in reference to a property. Sorry, I just need to silence my phone here. It keeps vibrating. The term amenities in reference to real property valuation refers to A, increased valuation of property either due to positive improvement of the areas. It looks like you guys already have all your B's in. We'll move forward here. Next one, the income approach of a single family rental property would use which technique? The swag method, the IRV, the gross rent multiplier, or the income capitalization? Citrina is saying A. The gross rent multiplier is correct. I wish it was A. Moving on. We all got that one. Next one, an insurance company might use an appraisal to determine A, replacement cost, to determine the amount of coverage required, B, the ethnic composition of a neighborhood for better rate estimates, C, market value, or D, none of the answers above. Replacement cost. There are several different types of appraisals you can have. One way is a replacement cost. Another way is a comparison approach. There can be the income approach. There's multiple different ways. So they will ask an appraiser occasionally to do a replacement cost appraisal. Next question, a defensible opinion of an estimate of value of real property as of a certain date is known as an appraisal, a market price, marketable title, or appreciation. I read those backwards for you that are watching the screen. That is correct. It is an appraisal. Next one, income cap. The income cap technique uses annual gross income, net monthly income, annual net income, or gross monthly income. The income cap technique uses annual gross income, net monthly income, annual net income, or gross monthly income. So Trina took a stab at it. There we go. Here they all come in. Annual net income is actually it. The income cap technique uses annual net income. And annual gross income is the total income. Net income is the income minus expenses. So we just want for the income cap. Cap, by the way, is capitalization rate, is what they're referring to. So they're going to use net income, not gross, because if we're looking for a capitalization rate, how much money we're making, we want to use net because gross doesn't mean very much, depending on what your expenses are. Next one, features that enhance the desirability of real estate are often called an appraisal. I'm not even going to take a stab at that one. Assessments or amenities. Amenities is correct. Pertinence is the way you state that, by the way. Next one, a large manufacturer is building a factory in Flint. There will be a definite economic boost in this to the city. How will this affect the home prices in this area? Home prices, let's see. A would be there is no way real estate, no way to determine. There is no real way to determine this. B is home prices will rise, home prices will fall, or will make no immediate difference. B is correct. Income capitalization is most likely to be used when the subject property is a single family rental, grocery store, an apartment complex, or none of the answers above. That is it. An appraisal is the utility. An appraisal is the valuation divided by gross income, cost less depreciation for age and condition, or supported opinion of value. D is correct. It's really important to remember that appraisals are opinions. They are not scientific facts. Well, that is our course for tonight, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We will have it again next week. Keep an eye out for the emails. I hope this was helpful for everyone. Again, I'm your productivity coach. I will be helping you all. If you're on the east side of town, you'll jump into my program and we'll talk to you exactly about how to make some money in real estate. We talk about investments. We talk about how to take listings, all of that. So keep up the great work. Keep studying. Take it seriously. It is a difficult test. You guys have it. Talk to you soon.